So this is video 5 for chapter 8. We're going to cover area and perimeter of composite shapes. It actually is broken into 2 sections in your book. 8.2 talks about perimeter, and then 8.4 talks about area, but we're going to combine them and do them together. So let's start by talking about what composite shapes are. Composite shapes are just multiple shapes put together. So in this first one I have a square and a triangle. Or I might have a parallelogram and then another triangle here. And then I might have some semicircles or circles also put in. So when you put shapes together, you get a composite shape, and we're going to be able to find the area and perimeter of any of these. Notice that I labeled some of these as perpendicular. You're going to have to know the heights in order to find areas of lots of these. So we'll be looking for bases and heights like we were before. So we'll do a few as examples, and then there's a few more for you to try. So these directions only say find the perimeter, but we're going to find perimeter and area for each of these. Okay, in our first one, let's start with the perimeter. In order to find the perimeter, it looks like I know 2 sides here, but I would need to know this curved edge, which means I need to find the circumference of the circle. Okay, so circumference, if you recall, is diameter times pi. So I can see my diameter right here is 26 times 3.14. Do that, and I get 81.64 for the whole circumference. But then you can see it's not the full circle, it is just a semicircle. So I need to divide that by 2 if I'm going to get just the semicircle part, and that comes out to 40.82 centimeters. So I've written that up here in the picture. And now I can find my perimeter if I add 10 plus 24 plus the 40.82. Looks like I get 74.82 centimeters for the perimeter. Okay, so that's perimeter. I'm actually going to clear this so I have room to show the work for area. So for area, I have 2 shapes again put together. I have a triangle, and then I have a semicircle. So let's find each of those. Let's do the area of the triangle first. We know that area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Looks like I have a base of 24, a height of 10, and then divided by 2 gives me 120 centimeters squared right here. And then I have a circle. Circle, I need to know the area of my circle. In order to get that, I've got to start with the radius. So the radius here would be 13, right? Half of the diameter. And area of a circle is radius times pi. So 13 times 13 times 3.14. Type that into your calculator. Gives me a pretty big number, 530. But then I only have a semicircle, half of the circle right here, so cut in half. And I get 265.33. Add these 2 numbers together, and that gives me a total area of 385 square centimeters. Okay, so that's perimeter and area for number 1. I'm going to clear it so I have room again, and let's try number 2, or number 4 here. Again, perimeter and area. So let's start with perimeter. I know I have 8 and 8, but then I have these circular parts that I need to add on. So it looks like I'm going to have to find the circumference of that circle. Well, let's figure out what we know about the circle. It says this is a square. So if this is 8 meters wide, it's also 8 meters tall, which makes my diameter 8. So circumference would be diameter times pi. A circumference of this whole circle, both parts, both halves put back together, 25.12. So now if I'm ready to find the whole perimeter, I would say perimeter is 8 plus 8 plus both of these make 25.12. And I get a total of 41.12. So I know we're going to go kind of quickly through these. You should be typing it in as we go to check and make sure you understand where all these numbers come from and that you agree. Get the same answers. Okay? So we still have to find area of this guy. Let me clear it again so we have room to write. Area now. Again, with all of these, break it up into shapes that you do know. Here I have a square, plus I have a circle. When I put these two pieces together, that makes a full circle. So I'm going to just add the areas up. Area of a square, if it's 8 by 8, that gives me an area of 64 square meters for the square part. And then the area of a circle is r times pi. So let's figure out our radius. Right here, if I know the diameter is 8, that means the radius must be 4. So 4 times 3.14 gives me an area of, looks like 50.24 square meters when I calculate that. So I just have to add them up. Add the circle and the square together, and I get 114.24 square meters. Okay, so do this all with me as we go. Check it over, make sure it makes sense. Let me know what questions you have tomorrow in class. Let's try these two. Okay, these are a little bit different. Again, area and perimeter. Here I have, in number 3, a rectangle with a piece cut out. So I'm going to have to find the total area and perimeter again, but some numbers are missing that I might have to figure out before I can get the answers. Let's start with perimeter. Looking at this picture, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of dimensions given, but there's some more missing. Let's see. So if this is 8, then this over here would be 8. Cool. If this is 5, then that would be 5. But I still have to figure out this and this. So let's think about it. Well, if the entire top side is 15, and I take these 3 away, that means I have 12 left. Half of it has to go here, and half of it has to go here. So the only number that would work is if this is 6 feet and 6 feet. Then it looks like it all kind of matches up, works out. Good. So let's find the perimeter. Type this in and add up. 15 plus 8 plus 6 plus 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 6 plus 8. So I did that and I got a perimeter of 56 feet. Okay, and then for area. Again, break it up into shapes that you know. I don't know how to find the area of this whole crazy thing. So let's break it up into just rectangles that I can find. Okay, this rectangle is 8 by 6. This one over here is also 8 by 6. And it looks like, if I take 5 out right here, if this part is 5, in order for this to be 8 on this side, it means this side, that little piece would have to be 3. So it looks like I have a little square here that's 3 by 3, or an area of 9, and I just got to add my pieces up. So 48, 48, and 9. And it looks like I get 105 square feet for that one. Okay? All right, number 4, last one we're going to do completely together. But in this one, I am going to have a circle, but then I'm going to cut out this triangle. So I'm removing that from the area. Just find the area for this one. Okay? So let's start with the area of the circle. Whoops, that was a 7. That should be in there. Area of the circle. Well, area of a circle is always radius times pi. Here they show me that my radius is 7. And so I get an area of 153.86. Right, type in 7 times 3.14. No units here, so we'll just leave it like that. Then I'm going to also have to find the area of the triangle part, because that's going to get taken away or subtracted out of the circle. So area of a triangle, remember, base times height divided by 2. That's why we reviewed all those formulas. What is my base and my height? Well, it looks like this is just the diameter of the circle. Right here, they gave me the radius was 7. So that means I have 7 and 7, or a diameter of 14. That looks like the base of the triangle. And then if I draw another radius in here, that's 7. That could be the height of my triangle. And then divided by 2. So I get the height of the area of the triangle to be 49. And then my final answer would be to take the circle, area of the circle, take away the area of the triangle, right? I'm going to take this out and see what's left in just the red section. So 153.86 minus 49, and I get an answer of 104.86. Okay, so there's 4 more for you to work on, and then we'll come back and check them. But I want to talk about them real quickly. In this one, your picture isn't printed in color, so look at it on the paper. Your job is to find just the pink area, so just this part. In order to do that, we're going to start with the square, and then take away or remove the area of the circle and see what's left. So you can try that one. This one looks like I have a square in the middle, and then I have 4 semicircles. Well, those 4 semicircles actually just combine to make 2 circles. So I have a square. If I'm looking at the area, the square plus 2 circles that are the same size. That'll give me the total area. Or if I'm looking at perimeter, it's just going to be a circumference. That's 1 circle there. So that circumference plus another circle here, another circumference. So 2 circumferences will give me the perimeter. Okay. And then here, looks like I have a trapezoid and a semicircle. So break it up, find the area of the trapezoid, and then the area of the semicircle, and put those 2 numbers together for your total area. And also find the perimeter of the whole thing. And then this one, I have a square and a semicircle. So I'm just going to count the area of the square once, and then plus a semicircle, half of a circle added onto that to get the total area. Okay, so pause, try all of these, and then we'll go back and check. Okay, going back to check this one, I found the area of the square, right, length times width or base times height. Area of the circle, radius times pi. Worked those both out, subtracted them, and that's what I got for an answer. Make sure you have square inches for your answer. Okay, going on to this one. Here we said the area would be the square plus 2 full circles. So I found all of those areas. The square was 2 by 2. The circles are just radius times pi, or 1 times 1 times pi. I worked those out and added them up and got a total area of 10.28 square feet. And then for perimeter, looks like we said just 2 of the circumferences would give me the total perimeter. So I did, they each had a diameter of 2, right? Diameter times pi to get the circumference. And then that came out to 6.28 for each one. And I have 1 circle there, another circle here. So I just had to double it. And I got this. Okay, on this one, let's check it over and talk about the area first. I see 2 shapes, right? We have the trapezoid here and the semicircle. So trapezoid first is base plus base divided by 2 times the height. So I had a base of 18, a base of 12. I did 18 plus 12 divided by 2, and then multiplied that by 7, and got an area of 105. So this part is 105. And on the circle, right, if my diameter is 12, that means I have a radius here of 6. So I did radius times pi, or 6 times 6 times pi, and got an area of 113. But this is only a semicircle, so I had to divide it by 2 or cut it in half, and I got 56.52. Put those 2 areas together for a grand total of 161.52 square units. Okay, and then for the perimeter, well, I know I have to add 8 plus 18 plus 8 plus half of the circumference. So I found the circumference here, right? Diameter times pi, or 12 times pi. But then cut it in half because it's only half of a circle. And then I got this curved part to be 18.84. And I added that up with the 8 and the 18 and the 8 and got this. Okay, last one super quick. Area of the square plus area of the circle. Remember, it's just a semicircle, half of the circle, which gave me this. When I added those together, I got a total area right there. And then half of the circumference plus the square pieces gave me that.